so much, ma'am. I now invite Ms. President Rotarian Mohini Sriram to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Sonia. Good morning and a very warm welcome to all the district officials present here, Rotarians, T20 presidents, invitees, and my dear Utsavites to the second part of Pratidhi. Pratidhi means hope. We at RCC Utsav and the Literacy District team are proud and privileged to have organized this seminar on dyslexia awareness. October is the International Month of Dyslexia Awareness, and this is the reason for RCC Utsav organizing this four-part seminar in order to bring about an awareness on dyslexia among the parents and teachers. Our speaker last week, Mr. Vinit Dev Ankade, clearly communicated the advantages or strengths of dyslexics. He stated that once the strength of the person is identified, there's a need to access all aspects of support that can be offered to the person, including concessions that all educational boards offer. Our guest of honor, Ms. Mridula Govindraju, editor of MDA newsletter and an author, will be addressing us on the issue of support for dyslexic persons. I deem it a privilege to welcome our speaker, Ms. Mridula Govindraju, and thank her in advance for sparing her precious time to be with us today. I now request our MC for the day, Rotarian Sonia, to introduce our guest of honor, Ms. Mridula Govindraju.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now it's the time for the speaker. So, Mridula Govindaraju is a copy editor by training and has worked in the publishing industry for more than 10 years. She has an MA in English literature and has edited and designed school textbooks for primary school children. After moving out of publishing, she edited online training courses and created course materials for managerial training programs. She has also worked as an instructional designer and wrote storyboards and scripts for online self-learning tutorials. She has taught children with learning differences. And Mridula is the editor of MDA newsletter and an author who writes history fantasy novels. With no further delay, I welcome Mridula Govindaraju to deliver her speech.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank Rotary Utsav for giving me this platform to speak about an issue which is very close to my heart. And I'm talking as a parent of a child with dyslexia. And when I say it's a child with dyslexia, it goes without saying that it is a child with a dyslexic advantage. So here we are only going to speak about how to harness a dyslexic child's advantages and nothing else. So Vinny's speech last Saturday, we have recorded it and put it up on our parent support group YouTube channel. So it's called Gold PSG 2020. Sorry, Gold Dyslexia Parent Support Group. That's our YouTube channel. And to have any queries or you want to join this parent support group, you may email us at goldpsg2020@gmail.com. I repeat, goldpsg2020@gmail.com. So without much ado, I want to start my session today. Okay, so the topics or the areas that we're going to look at today are remediation, occupational therapy, and concession. Now, these are the terms you will come across often after your child has been, I don't like to use the word diagnosed, but assessed for dyslexia. But whatever it is, we are looking at all these issues in the light of dyslexic advantages. It is not a disadvantage, it is an advantage. And it is not a disability, it is a neurodiversity. So these are the areas. First, we'll look at assessment, remedial education, occupational therapy, and concession. School education. Now, before we begin, I want to tell all parents the first step towards helping our children is complete understanding and unconditional support of our children. Because research time and again has shown that, even Vinit said last week, one parent and one teacher, usually it is an understanding teacher, is behind an adult dyslexic who has become successful, because they have remarkable memory of a parent and a teacher supporting them. So dyslexia is not a disability. Please understand. It is the way our brain processes information differently. Once you get this, once you understand, and also look back to the mind strength that Vinit spoke about last week, you can help your child harness those advantages and perform well in academics. The problem, as we saw, is a dyslexic child struggles in school. Schooling, most of the instructions given in school are in two mediums. One is the written word, where the child has difficulty, and two is arithmetic. So when you look at the dyslexic advantages and help them with remedial education and occupational therapy and all those areas, they will manage school and find success beyond school. Now, disability, it's an umbrella term. Specific learning disability is an umbrella term under which you have dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, dyspraxia, and developmental aphasia. All these conditions come under specific learning disability. This is the term we'll keep coming to again and again, because your assessment reports will contain this, your concessions will contain it, in your application form you have to mention it. So please understand, you have to say SLD. Now, when do you start? Early intervention. The earliest time you begin, which is in primary school, by the time the child is 5. Earliest signs you catch, and you give them intervention at that time, the way they cope and the way they learn is far more successful. So please don't be in denial. Please don't think that something is wrong with my child. Nothing is wrong with your child. Our children think differently. So I'm going to keep harping on thinking differently and processing differently. So it's the norm, and this is not abnormal, because statistics show that anything between 10 to 15% of the population is dyslexic. That's quite a significant population. And most of the fields where a lot of creativity, actually entrepreneurs, all of them, many of them are dyslexic. So what happens at the primary level? One of the earliest people, or the first people to catch it, are primary school teachers. Now, primary school teachers, say in the pre-primary level, so the child is 3.5, 4, they will pick it up, because many primary school teachers are now trained to catch signs of dyslexia. And as parents, we can also catch signs. So if you're I don't want to say if you're an observant parent, because most parents at home are observant. They know what their children are doing. So parents, if you do have a suspicion, keep your antenna open. What the primary school teacher will do at this stage is they will do a screen to see if the child shows any predisposition or tendency. They have certain markers. They have certain points where the child will show or exhibit dyslexia tendency. But I don't want to name anything. The child is not dyslexic at this time. Child should not be called anything at this time. And one more thing we have to remember, we are using these terms so that dyslexia, dyspraxia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, so that we can give the right kind of intervention, the right kind of help to the child. It is not branding. This is not something we say, this is not something we should look down on. You do this so that you give the correct kind of teaching to the child. So the child should be taught in the way that they learn, not how we learn or how we want to teach, but in how they understand or how they learn. So at the pre-primary stage, it is only called a screening, because many children, because there are three levels of dyslexia. There is moderate, mild, moderate, and severe. So if it is a mild, they just tend to manage it in school by themselves. So a child will not be assessed. For heaven's sake, don't take your child for any assessment when they are 4 or 5 years. So a primary school teacher will do it. It's only that by class 8, when your child or when our child is not on par at grade level in their courses that they are doing, in their studies that they are doing, in their subjects, by class 8, that's when the child will be assessed for specific learning disability, SLD. Until then, nothing. What happens once your child is there, once the teacher calls you and says, okay, fine, our child needs an assessment now, what do? So this assessment has to be done by a trained person. So not everybody can do, not anybody can do an assessment for a person with specific learning disability. Once an assessment is done, the assessment report will tell you where exactly your child is struggling with school. It is not a problem. Please, it does not tell what your problems are there. These are not problems. It is how your child, in areas where your child is struggling in school, and the mechanisms that you can use to help your child manage, cope, and manage their studies. Okay? Now, there are a couple of things that the assessment report will also tell you. See, I'm going into this because many parents, when they first hear that their child has a learning disability, they're just stunned. They are incapable. They are like, there's a lot of hurt, disbelief that they have to grapple with. But you grapple with it for some time and then you move on. Because ultimately you are, a parent is the stakeholder. The parent is the person who has to take the first step to help the child. If we don't help our children, no one else will. A teacher can only do so much. But the rest of the stuff, the rest of the things, a parent has to do. So the role of a parent is very, very crucial and important. Now, the assessment report will tell you what kind of SLD your child has. Whether it is dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia. Then, what kind of remedial intervention has to be given. Some children, not all of them, but many children might require occupational therapy or speech therapy. A report will give all these details. Another thing you have to remember is the report will also say for how many years that report is valid. So what happens, the brain is not just a static entity sitting in our head. The brain is an organic organism, so it keeps growing. So as you keep feeding the brain with tasks, as the child keeps learning through remedial intervention, they start doing well in academics too. So accordingly, you have to repeat the assessment after 2 years. This is something that all parents have to be aware. They give you get an assessment report. What do? Keep it. Because you need to build a case by the time your child comes to class 10, in case the child requires accommodation for the board exam. Now, when the child is 8 years, you don't know. Child might need accommodation, child may not require accommodation. But you can't, on that assumption, just be careless with the assessment report. Because boards are very, very strict now. They will not accommodate you when you say in class 10, my child needs these accommodations. They will say prove to me, show me that your child needs them. Keep every assessment report that you get, including samples of the work, school work that they have. So, for example, if your child in class 3, by class 3, has an assessment done, so you take the maths notebook, you take the English notebook, you take the language notebook, and the science notebook. That's what you take it to the assessor who's going to do the assessment. Then, once you get the report, store those 3 notebooks or 4 notebooks. Then after a couple of years, if another assessment is required, you will take the new notebooks with you for the new class and get the assessment done. This way, you keep your data carefully. It is as important. I'm repeating this over and over again because many parents have lost their assessment reports. They don't know. And in the last minute for a public exam, they are running from pillar to post. Keep all of them carefully. They are as important. I mean, you don't lose the birth certificate, do you? The moment a child is born, you register the birth. This is as important. In fact, it's far more important than the Aadhaar card. It is as important as the birth certificate. Keep them carefully. So what happens when you say remedial intervention? Your child needs remedial. Don't worry. Remediation or remedial intervention. Now, throughout, all this will go hand in hand with dyslexic advantage. Please remember, the dyslexic advantage of the child is what you will be using to do all this. So, the remedial teacher or the special educator will tell you or will teach the child how to read when they have reading difficulties, how to do maths if they have dyscalculia, and if they have dysgraphia, which is a problem with handwriting and dyspraxia, they may have to go for occupational therapy. So, in remedial intervention, what is it? It is a very ordered and scientific and a systematic way of teaching children syllabusing using sound. And it is catered to the needs of the child. And it just doesn't use one way of it. It is multisensory. It uses all senses. So the child will hear, the child will speak, the child will touch and hold things to do. They will use manipulative. So it is a multisensory way of learning, which is the best method for learning for not only our children, actually for everybody, but we are looking at SLD alone here. So when your child is going through remedial intervention, how are we as parents going to support the child? Dyslexic advantages. Remember the mind strengths that Winnie spoke about. Material reasoning, interconnected reasoning, narrative reasoning, and dynamic reasoning. All our children will definitely have 2 of these strengths which are dominant, and all the other will overlap. But 2 strengths will definitely dominate. Use those strengths to teach the child. And a child with dyslexia can never learn things in isolation. Now, for example, my daughter is studying home science. Now, for her to study nutrition, she can't just learn nutrition in isolation. She can never learn the question answers and write her test. For her to write the test, she has to read the entire lesson, understand the entire lesson. So she's able to read the lesson now because we have built her learning from what is home science 2 years ago in class 10. Right? So you need to build it for your children. They need a holistic picture. Dyslexic children are big picture thinking children. It's not the fine details. Fine details are for the rest of us. But these guys do the big picture very well. You give them the big picture, they will spot the interconnectedness in it and they will figure it out. Another thing we have to remember for our children is don't mollycoddle them. Give them the room to explore and learn. And believe me, the first person to understand that they are not able to understand anything is not the parent or the teacher, it's the child. Because the child knows it in the classroom. I understand it better than my friend. She's writing, but I'm not able to. I can say it, but I'm not able to write it. Right? So don't underestimate the child. Child knows it first, even before the teacher, even before the parent. So please give them that respect of understanding and help them explore. This is very, very important, because the more we mollycoddle, the more dependent they will become on us. We need them to be independent. They are remarkable, because the amount of 3D thinking that they are fantastic with it. It is amazing the stuff they can come up with. And I'm saying this out of experience because my daughter does. Please read this book. And it's called The Dyslexic Advantages. It is available on Amazon. I'm promoting this because it changed my life. Vineet will tell you, and I stand by this, it completely changed the way we look, as parents, we look at dyslexia. Because till now it's been like, how to remedy the problem, how to help them teach, how to help them. The problem is in the writing. Now, if we keep on attacking the writing, what they don't know, it is very demotivating. So get them or teach them in a way that they understand. So because of the other things that they are good at, their writing will improve automatically. So as an example, my daughter couldn't read and write until she was 13, one day. Right? So what was the way we figured out how to do this? She loves to cook and bake. Because she had to bake, because she had to cook in school, she had to do a couple of projects as part of her course. She picked up books and started reading. Now she reads at grade level. She's in class 12. She finished class 10. Now she's done class 12 at grade level. Of course, we use assistive devices, but she still reads. So her life skill for reading is in place. So that's why I want to share with parents, don't keep harping on the child can't write, the child has. Dysgraphia, the child will have difficulty in writing. Dyspraxia, the child will have difficulty. Don't harp on the writing. Do the other things that the child is good at. This will come. And what if they can't write? There is so much. There is a scribe, there is assistive. There's so much these days that the child can do. Because ultimately, what is it that is important? It is the acquisition of knowledge. Our children cannot do rote learning. So rote learning, mugging up doesn't work. They have to understand the concept. Then they will figure out a way of expressing it in themselves. That is why after school, dyslexics do very, very well. Because if they are able to find the right area, their right passion, in college, you just cannot stop. Okay? Then enroll into a basic course on remedial. There are many courses. There is one called eShikshanam, which MBA offers because it is free. It is also free and it is a good course. So it is, you can learn by yourself. Nobody teaches you. It's self-explanatory. To equip, as a parent, what must you do? You should be the one. Parents should be the one who has to first learn, understand what dyslexia is, learn what it is, and advocate for our children. Because if we don't do it, no one else will. Now, once these remedial interventions, remedial strategies, and the mind advantages start going hand in hand, one of the things that we'll also learn as the children keep going to higher classes is techniques. See, if these are in place, by the time the child is in class 7, class 8, they will know how to. You say, for example, the child knows how they start learning, drawing and figuring out mind maps by the time, say, they are in class 5 or class 6. By class 7, they will do mind maps by themselves. So there are enough mind maps available online. So they will use them. They will use technology for using mind maps, because that is a very good tool for learning. They will figure out a way in which they understand, provided we support them. Please don't belittle them. Support them, because dyslexia is an advantage. It is not a disability, right? So what happens when you do remedial interventions? I'm all for technology. I'm a major lover of technology, because technology, when used well, when used very well. And see, we must understand that our generation of children, unlike the older generation, have so many other tools that they can use to not to, see first in school from class 1 to class 10, it is coping with dyslexia. But after class 12, it is using their dyslexia to become what they want to become, to do what they want to do. You see, that is what is important. What there is a read aloud. So when you want to use technology, please explore. There are enough and more free stuff going online. So there is the read aloud app. So this app will read aloud for you. And there is a wonderful site called Bookshare India, where you just have to, if you're a student, you need to get an application signed by your principal to say that you have a learning difficulty. Books, all NCERT books, NIOS books, you know, all the textbooks that all schools use, government textbooks issued by the government. Technical books, engineering books are there, and they will read to you. So once you get your child listening to someone, a technology reading, you know, they will listen to it at 2 times the speed, faster. Now what happens in school? You will hold the child's hand, you will sit and read to them and keep on going, you know, highlight everything for them. What will they do in college? You can't sit and look at a home science textbook in college and highlight everything for them. They have to be independent by the time they come to college. So what is the best way to get them to be independent? Use technology. And kids are very savvy. They just pick it up like that and they will use it. So there are iPads that you can use, tablets, calculator, and there's a wonderful site. This is called Yale Center for Dyslexia and Creativity. Look at their technology section. They break it down to you. You know why I said Yale Center? They have a Center for Creativity and Dyslexia, and many of their PhD professors are dyslexic. And I read one of their doctors of internal medicine. His name is Blake Charlton. He writes fantasy. He writes fantasy books, and the hero of that fantasy book is dyslexic. Imagine dyslexia, and he's written books. Please don't limit our children by saying it is a difficulty. Expand their minds, show them the world, open the horizons for them and say, because it is an advantage. Now you look at your assessment report, and some of our children, mine also had to go through occupational therapy. Don't worry, this is not something mind-shattering and earth-shattering and, oh, my child has to do this. All of us do yoga. Occupational therapy also is a variety of exercise, so what is occupational therapy? Now, occupational therapy is our exercises that help us do our everyday work. So see, some of our children, they won't be able to hold their pencil properly. Pencil is a fine motor skill. Now, fine motor skills come only after gross motor. Gross motor are the big muscles. Walking. If a child can't walk properly, or if they've missed their milestone, so first the child will fall on their stomach and hold their head, fall on the stomach, then move with their arms, then crawl, then sit down, and then only get up. Right? These are the developmental milestones for an infant. If a child misses them, like mine did, she did not crawl, she straight away walked. Then what happens? All these milestones happen for certain reasons, because the muscles in our body, in an infant's body, are strengthened. They become tight or they become strong. So unless the gross motor or the big body muscles become strong, the fine motor skill, which is writing, will not come. But that's not the end of the world. If that does not come, we'll teach it. How do you do that? Give them occupational therapy exercises. So there is a routine that you and I don't know, right? We need to go to a professional for this. What does it do? It increases or it strengthens areas which are not strong. I'm not going to call them weak, because weak is something which is so negative. It is not weak. If it is weak, it won't be there, or it will break. It is there. Just need to strengthen it. That's all. So if a child doesn't have muscle, how will it walk? Yeah, it can't walk, right? So the muscle is there. Just needs to be strengthened. That's all. So it might require, depending upon the how weak the muscle is, we might take a year or 2 or 3 to strengthen those muscles. So this doesn't happen in isolation. There's occupational therapy going on. There is remedial education going on, and parents, we are also looking at dyslexic advantage, the mind strengths that are going on. All 3 are going on simultaneously. And believe me, you will see the progress in your child. Okay? This is again important. Just like how you will file your assessment report, an occupational therapist will also give you a report which you will file away. Right? They will give you exercises. Maybe they'll ask twice a week or thrice a week, depending on what your child requires. And they'll also give you a home plan. So they'll say 3 months you've come to me, you've done these exercises. Now what we have done, repeat the same thing at home. Come and meet me after a month. When they do that, please do it. Please don't say stuff like, oh, my child is not cooperating. If the child doesn't cooperate with you, then who will they cooperate? So as a parent, we cannot give excuses that my child is not doing, he is very this. You know, please don't give excuses. Because, and if we are not able to help our child, a teacher can only do so much. And I cannot tell you the importance of occupation. See, I am one of those people who swear by it. So my daughter couldn't hold a pencil. She just couldn't even hold. She would do standing lines, she would do sleeping lines. That's it. Cursive writing, she won't come. But believe me, occupational therapy helps her. And over a course of time, depends on the needs of your child will be able to write. This again will also depend upon the kind of condition your child has. If they are not able to write by class 8, don't worry, there is technology. Right? You should figure out by class 6 onwards, if they are not having difficulty, see the child, what is our ultimate aim? Knowledge, right? You should not spend all your time, the child is not able to write, hold the pencil and go make the child write. No, use technology, use a scribe, get the child to use the computer, start typing, because those are what the board is giving all that. Get the child to start typing from class 6 onwards, right? So it is faster for the child. Child can speak to the computer will write for the child, and they can make their corrections. There is spell check. Don't, for heaven's sake, when the child has, because if all the energy is spent in writing, learning is just gone. All our children, if they, wherever they have a problem, if you just attend to that or do away with it, learning happens very fast. They are faster than non-dyslexic children. I can tell you that. Because they look at everything, whole picture. So this is like my underline. I am just pounding it on all parents. File your reports, file your reports. Okay? Now comes to the best part. There is a wonderful act. It is called Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. Now, it is available in the public domain. Please read it. And the act covers these areas. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just look at the lettering in green. You have dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and development of aphasia. All these come under the purview of SLD, which is under the Persons with Rights with Disabilities Act. This act gives us a lot of scope and hope and help for our children. Therefore, advocate for the rights for your child. Read this and seek the help that that act is giving you, because all the boards in our country, irrespective of which state they are in, all state boards, CBSE, ICSE, higher education, lower education, all of them come under the purview of this act. Okay? All of them. Now, all boards offer concessions. What are concessions? These are helps that we will give our children in order for them to be able to learn easily. Those are what concessions are? Helps that we give children in order that they learn easily. And this you can use, this help can be used from the time that the child is assessed from age 8 onwards, that is class 3 onwards. The moment the child is assessed, all these will come into play. All of them. Accommodation. So if the child requires somebody to read to the child, have someone read to the child so the child can understand. Don't sit and half read. It will come. It will come slowly. But use techniques. If a child requires a reader, give the child a reader. If the child is not able to write, scribe for the child. If the child is not able to do math, teach functional math and use a calculator. Right? My child has dyscalculia, that is problem with processing numbers. So if I make the child do long division, she's lost. She can't do long division with her fingers, 750 divided by 25, we are off. And what does it matter? What do? Calculate. Because by the time the child comes to class 6 or class 7, you will know. The child themselves will know what are the areas that they have a trouble with, and they will veer towards their like. They will know what they like. Give them that. There is enough flexibility and scope these days to do what they want. So help them. This, like I said, is my constant refrain. This is like a chorus. What will you do when you get your concession? Usually concessions, those reports. So it's on the discretion of the person who assesses. So I'm saying it is for 2 years generally, but sometimes an assessor, person who assesses, will say it is for 3 years. Whatever may be the case, until 15 years, it has to be done in a certain pattern. Please follow it and get it done and file those reports. Okay. Now, child has come to class 9, 10th standard boards. Here is where you have to be, all those documentation you have done, all that stuff you have collected over the years. Concessions, assessments for board exams have to be done only by a government body. No one else can do it. So it has to be government hospitals, any government hospital. Government peripheral hospitals like the ESI hospital in KK Nagar if you're in Chennai. So NIMHANS and NIPMAC. Across the country, any government hospital will do it. That is because, why is the government stipulating this? The government is stipulating this because these assessments, because they are done by a battery of tools, right? This has to be administered by psychologists who have the RCI number. What is this RCI number? This is called the Rehabilitation Council of India number. Unless a clinical psychologist, not just any other psychologist, should be a clinical psychologist who has the RCI number, they will put a stamp on your report. Okay? Only that report is valid. You cannot have your local, many of the psychiatrists have counselors attached to them. If those people give a report, it is not valid. Please be clear about this, because you will have, the process is long. To get these reports, it takes a long time. So please do this well ahead and understand the process. It's given in all the boards, all the websites of all the boards. What are the documents they require? What is the procedure they follow? Because it varies from board to board. Please visit the website, but this is something you have to keep in mind. All of them offer different. There are marginal differences. The differences are big. There are marginal differences, but they are different. ICSE will have marginal differences to CBSE. Whatever it is, if your child is taking an ICSE exam and needs a scribe, you have to go visit the ICSE website, see what the board is saying. If they're all very clear, ICSE, CBSE, NIO's websites are all clear. They all have accommodation, concessions, examination concessions, some such tab under which it is all there. Begin this process in class 9. It takes close to a month sometimes to get these reports. Please begin the process when the child is in class 9. Because see, today my daughter she's in class 9, my younger daughter, and she's gone for registration for class 10 board exam. It's happening now. So by now your report should be ready if the child is going to take concessions for class 10, which is next year, year after that, next year, right? So for that, you have to submit all those. Please be proactive, be aware. Nobody will tell you this. You make a dossier, you make a file, and you put all this down, then go ask questions. So then what happens, your questions will be specific. Seek help, because you should always, all of us don't know everything. Nobody is an expert. We have to seek help. We have to ask questions, provided you do your homework first. If you don't do your homework, you can't first help yourself or your child. There's a Ready Reckoner available on the MBA website. Though the Ready Reckoner is available there, please go visit the respective website also, because we have to be sure. See the Reckoner, quickly go see your respective board website and also note it all down. What are the broad concessions all boards offer? This is not specific. I've just taken this, all the broad concessions. You get extra time. You get overlooking spelling errors, use of calculator, dropping second language. So you get an alternate subject. So instead of the subject that you have exempted, you get to use a scribe, use of laptop. So look at the variety you have. Why torture the child if the child can't write? This is my biggest concern. Child can't write, let it be. Just let it be, because we need learning, we need knowledge. Who writes anyway these days? So these are the broad areas all boards give. This is not specific to any board. This is broadly what everyone gives. You please go check what your board will give you. Now the same process for class 12. Because once you finish class 10, you'll again choose subjects that you want. Right? Same process for class 12. Therefore, but this time the process will be faster. At least the assessment process, not the documentation process. The assessment, please remember, when I say process is faster, you go to the, say, GH and give this and they'll immediately print out a certificate for you. No. The assessment process for the child will be faster, because they've already done the preliminary, they've already done the assessment for class 10. Instead of taking 1 week, they'll take 3 days. Assessments will take time. They are spread over a week, because we are not the only person going there standing in queue. There are thousands, not hundreds, thousands of children who need these. So there's a big queue behind us, right? So please be aware and don't go harass those poor people in the last minute. Many of them are very, very accommodative. Many of these government employees are extremely accommodative and very, very understanding of our children. So therefore, we must also be understanding of them and not harass them in the last minute and say, okay, I don't want to go on further. Now what happens? You have got the assessments done for class 10 and assessment done for class 12, and you have got your concession certificate. There is one final certificate that you require by the time your child reaches 18 years. This is called the Permanent Disability Certificate. Please get it. You require it for college admission. This is called the Permanent Disability Certificate. Again, the same hospitals will issue it. And this process is very fast. So you just need to take your older certificates to them. They will tick this form. They will ask you to come on a particular day along with the photo, whatever documents that they tell you, that the government hospital, the department in the government hospital tells you. you get it done. This is for life. This is like our all cards, ration card, Aadhaar card, what, voter identity card, disability card, permanent disability certificate. Please keep this. Another thing I want to say is, don't be ashamed. Please don't be ashamed and belittle our children by feeling ashamed. If you can't see, don't you wear spectacles? Some of us wear contacts, but that's okay. But by and large, we wear spectacles, right? It's just like that. Get it? And many times the child is relieved because Amma, mine is like, I don't have to write. So therefore, her learning is much, much better, much faster. Knowledge acquisition greater, which is what you need after you finish class 12. Who's asking you what you did in class and what marks you got in class 12, right? So now I go to college education. You do all this. And see, there's another thing I want to tell you is within the same family. Vineet also mentioned this last time that dyslexia runs in families, it is genetic. Within the same family, no two people are same. Father, parent, I don't want to say father, it can be mother also. So parent and child, parent might have a different way, different kind of, they might have dyslexia, both of them. But the way it manifests or shows up in the father, it will be different to the way it shows up in the child, or the mother and the child. So no two dyslexic people with dyslexia are similar, even if they are similar. Their needs are different, right? So we have to cater to those needs. So similarly, in higher education institutions, also taken children, adults who are dyslexic, right? So you might say, oh, but child can't read and write, but how did that fellow become an engineer, or that girl become an engineer? That is the reasoning, no? Dynamic reasoning, so interconnected reasoning, depending on what sort of reasoning we have, our child will become that, will pursue that. They will become what they want. We can't make them become something. They will become what they want. Okay. Now comes to higher education. All higher educations come under the purview of PWD. This is a very exciting news. We have PWD quota. Okay, lower cutoff for entrance exam. Now all parents, pause for a moment. Now just because there is a lower cutoff for entrance exam doesn't mean we will put my daughter who struggles with math into an engineering course. No. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Let the child study in a course that they will blossom in. Not because I will get under this quota, I will get engineering. Engineering. You will put the child in engineering. Who has to study there? Can you help with an engineering course? Once they go inside, once they clear the entrance exam by whatever, let us say just a hypothetical thing. They will clear the exam and they will get inducted into the course. Who has to study after that? Can you sit with your child, hold hands, do shadow reading for them at an engineering level? You can't. And you shouldn't. What will happen to the self-esteem of the child? The child's ability, their own sense of self, their own independence, if you do that. Please follow the child. Let the child do what they want to do. They know what they want to do. They will do very well. Okay, so this is what it is. Lower cutoff for entrance exam. These are the agencies that are authorized to do. See, what happens when you go to the higher academic, higher education? You need certain additional, apart from all the assessments you have done, you will require certain additional assessments. Okay, that needs to be done. So please, much ahead. Okay, we'll come to that. What you do, these are the institutions or organizations for IITs, NETs, IITs, and GFTI. That is, GFTI are government-funded technical institutions. For all these institutions, these 5 organizations are authorized to give the certificate, disability certificate. Okay. So there are only 5 organizations. So if you go to them in the last minute, you will be in queue. Please go well in advance. This is what it looks like. The Joint Seat Allocation Authority page looks like this. If you can see, among all categories, there is a PWD quota. Right? They also give you extra time, dropping second language, additional 20 minutes for every hour of exam, user scribe, laptop and ICT. Higher academic education institutions give it. Provided our child has the ability to do science. Child has the ability or the aptitude to do home science. Ability and the aptitude to do humanities. All these will work provided the child has the basic prerequisite skills for that course. If the child does not have, for heaven's sake, don't condemn to that hell. It is hell for them. What do? Don't choose a course because it's popular and it will get you a job right away. No. Figure out what their interests are. This is very important. Check if your child has the prerequisite skills for the course. How do you check? I don't know. I'm only an English literature graduate. How do I know what the engineering will tell you? Very simple. All of them have websites. All these are mandated by the UGC, mandated by the MHRD to have a separate tab where they will give what is the course syllabus. What are the subjects in this course? Open that. Please read it, not for yourself, along with your child. Because many times, many people have see, when I wanted to put in my daughter in NIOS, I went to that website, looked what it is. Then I asked her to look at it and choose herself. She knows what she wants. Do the same thing to your child. Look at the website. Okay? Now, when do you start this job? The moment your child finishes class 10, you know. If you're doing it by NIOS, you anyway know, because you will choose the subjects that you want to in NIOS and you will move on to 12 in that way. But you choose them the moment the child finishes class 10, you will start looking up, because that's when you have to choose those subjects, right? In class 11. And by then you will start doing the groundwork for college admission. Groundwork 2 years prior. Why you should do 2 years prior? Because colleges will call for admission November, December of that academic year. So if I wait for class 12 public exam results, I've lost the bus. I've missed it. Not only bus, everything. And then you can't sit and beg and plead. Please don't do this. It is very humiliating for the child also. Do this 2 years ahead. Be ready. Because in November, December of that academic year, you have to submit everything. All the documents, even for disability. So where will you get them? You can't conjure them from thin air, right? So please do your work ahead. Before I wind up, there is one thing I want to tell you. See, there are many parents who are homeschooling their children, right? When you homeschool your child, there is a TC that you receive. Remember, there is a transfer certificate. From the last class that your child went to, I think you say you pull out your child from school in class 4, right? Keep the TC that you have of your child in class 4 carefully along with the birth certificate. When you go for college admission, please find out, because I have not done research on this, I'm honestly telling you, please find out what should I do if the college is asking me for a TC. If I homeschool my child, what should I do for the TC? If you need additional affidavits, please get them done. Okay? But keep the TCs, whichever class that they last went to, 4th standard, 5th standard, whenever, keep those TCs carefully. And in all this, I want to tell you that it seems like a lot of work, a lot of struggle, but it is a greater struggle for the child, right? If we help them, it is amazing. It is remarkable how they blossom. You will be so happy. Just give 10 years of your life to them. After that, for the rest of your life, you will see them blossoming and fly like free birds. So this is something I saw on the internet. I cannot attribute it to anybody. I don't have. Just read this. This is for all parents newly who have discovered that their child is having LD. For anybody, it is going to be okay. The child is still the same child. Your love for them won't ever change. There will be days that are hard, heartbreaking even. It's okay not to be okay. Just don't get stuck there. Your child needs you to be strong. When you think you have it hard, remember it's harder for your child. Find your tribe. Find those who support you and understand the path you are walking. Come join our parent support group. Channel your emotion towards the fight. This is important. Advocacy. The fight for services, quality education, and quality of life. This is what we are asking for. Because if you don't ask, nobody will give it to you. Never give up. Always have hope. Your child is going to teach you so much more. And this is true. If it wasn't for my child, I wouldn't be talking with you today. Thank you. And before I wind up, I would just like to thank these two wonderful people, Harini Ramanujan, CEO of MBA, and Uttara Dorairajan, who helped me put this together. They validated my facts. So the errors are mine, the truths are theirs. Thank you.
I really have to tell you this. This session is, you have presented it so well, very well said. You have clearly explained the pathway of the dyslexic children from their childhood till their becoming teen. So this is definitely going to be helpful for so many parents, I'm telling you. So I could see a lot of questions popping out. I now open the session for our the questioner. So people who have got questions can ask questions. Just unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Mridula, there's some questions in the chat box. I'll just read it out to you.
Yes, please do. No?
Dhanalakshmi Iyer is asked, what use is and purpose of disability certificate? Do children with SLD into their careers now need them? If so, how do they get them?
See, to get a disability certificate, the use of disability certificate, it is very important for college admission. And number two, if you want to set up businesses, you want to become an entrepreneur, you can get loans faster. There are certain concessions that you will get, which is good for you, but primarily for higher education, right? And how will you get it? You have to go through the government hospitals to get your, after you get your 12th standard assessment done by the government hospital, you have to go back to whichever government hospital or the peripheral hospital that you went to or your 12th standard certificate, and then ask them. You have to fill a form for a permanent disability certificate. They will issue it. I hope I have answered that question.
Hi, ma'am. This is myself, Suhail.
Thank you, Mridula. Thank you, Mridula.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, I can hear you.
This is myself, Suhail. Actually, I'm 22 years old.
Okay.
From my kid, I have this sort of problems, but I couldn't explain my parents till my 12th. So that my grades are so, I don't know how to explain. My grades are so low.
Don't worry.
And I just get into college. Actually, I was not interested in engineering anymore because I was very, very drastically weak in maths. But my father think that engineering has a better scope, and if I get into that field, I may get job. And he admitted me there. After I go inside, I get lot of areas. Actually, now I'm passing out this engineering degree, but I have still lot of backlogs.
Okay.
What I did is after this quarantine, I felt lot of things when my lot of my friends said that you are very good at oral, but why are not so good at how to say writing? Okay.
Right. Correct.
So I just felt something, and I will some of the subjects I will perform well. So I just started searching all my feelings and all that, just marked to dyslexia and ADHD. Okay, and then I just started consulting to a psychiatrist, and she told
Excellent.
this like this. Okay, but still now I didn't have my support of my parents, and I have a lot of arrears. I don't know what to do next. I haven't take any sort of filings or nothing prior.
Okay. So what you do is, now what branch of engineering? Sorry, what branch of engineering are you doing?
Electrical and electronic engineering, that is completely maths. Instead of 50 subjects, I have around 42 subjects mathematics.
Okay. So I do want to ask you in the public forum how many areas you have. Please don't tell me. You don't have to tell me.
I won't.
Don't tell me. It's okay. So what I would suggest you do is you just have to, I don't know how the engineering marks mechanism goes.
Yes, ma'am.
Find something, but unless you pass, you've spent 4 years in it, right? Unless you pass, you won't get a degree.
Yeah, ma'am.
So can you find a professor or a teacher or somebody who will just pass? Is that possible? Or am I asking for too much? Just basically pass. Can you find somebody?
No, ma'am. Actually, my burden is too high, ma'am. Too high.
I will tell you what you do.
Yes, ma'am.
Because see, I'm not qualified to advise you on a public forum like this. One of the best things you can do is call up Madras Dyslexia Association.
Yeah, ma'am.
Have their numbers on the website.
Yeah, ma'am.
Fix up with them.
I've already consulting a practitioner. She just gave me this link, and she asked me to know what is my problem first. Then I can get better clarity what to do next.
I think you should. Have you had an assessment done? You get an assessment done, and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
you see where your areas are,
Okay, ma'am.
and then sit with the person who's helping you and decide on the cause of your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if it is going to be difficult to finish the course, then I don't know, you might have to consider. Why don't you talk to an adult you're consulting with, along with, get an assessment done for adult dyslexia, right?
Yeah, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
And then decide after that. Please don't have to, don't feel sorry for yourself. It is okay. See, you understood. You come to terms with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrudula, Vinith here. Sohail, can I just intervene? Sorry.
Yes,
Sohail.
Yes, sir.
Can you meet me?
Actually,
I'm able to. Okay, we can meet, and in person we can discuss. Okay, because I had done engineering, I had the same issues. We can find solutions to this. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, actually, I'm at Trichy, sir.
Why
and that's
don't you
okay.
just write to that email ID, no? goldphd2020@gmail.com.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
We'll do one-to-one video conferencing also, no issue.
Vinith, give him your number. Vinith, like the Lakshmi here, why don't you just give him your number and then you can
do that on the public
communicate.
forum, Lakshmi.
No.
Yeah, can we have
Individually, ask him to contact, and then both of you can contact on the phone. Instead of making it public at all. Don't bring it to the public forum at all.
Can we have the next question?
Next question is, okay. There's one in the
Hello.
chat box. Is it possible to throw some light on new education policy? How does it help a SLD child? Are the concessions still the same or anything new has been added? I guess now in NEP 3 languages have to be learnt.
Look, I have not read the FLD, I have not read the entire, that's supposed to be some 500-page document. I have not read it. So as of now, whatever concessions that we have, they stand. So please don't worry about the new education policy document, because that hasn't completely come into force yet. And frankly, I have not read it, so I cannot speak on it. But the existing concessions, accommodations stand in place. So in that sense, we won't be affected.
There was another question, Mridula. This is Rashmi here. The question was in the chat box that if a person has not taken concessions for, the question was, if a person has, is it clear to you?
Rashmi, you're breaking. I can't hear.
Okay, I'll write it in the chat box. I'll just write it in the chat box.
Yeah, please write it in the chat box.
Anybody else who want to unmute yourself and ask questions related to
Yeah,
this?
I have one question. This is Suma, and my daughter recently moved from CBSE to NIOS, and due to some health issues. My question is like, she has a writing difficulty, but orally she's very good. Her memory is very high. She can retain, but writing part is a very, she is not able to complete the task on that given time. But is it during this COVID, we will get some kind of assistance to write like a scribe kind of system now? Or
What
because
class is she in, please?
she's now in pre-secondary 9th grade, and I'm actually taking lot of time to practicing her to write the exam, because I'm not very sure how is it going to be during this COVID scenario.
See, if it is going to, please remember, the government will not put our children into difficulty. If getting a scribe is going to be difficult, they will take precautions accordingly. So you don't make the child right now, because in 9th standard, the child should be able to learn. Let the child use scribe for her, or get somebody, or ask her to use the keyboard. Get her to practice it. This lockdown time.
Keyboard is also finding it difficult, ma'am. Actually, she's finding very difficult because she's searching for keys, because she's not a very, her motor skills are little slow.
Okay, so can she speak to the computer? Then let her speak to the computer.
Oh, so that provision is allowed in this?
No, she will not. She will need a scribe. But until we get a scribe, don't worry. Don't worry about the examination, because this is a scenario that all of us, my daughter also needs a scribe, that all of us will face, right? So when the time is ready for examination, we will find scribe. Until then, you make your daughter read to the, speak to the computer, and the computer can do the writing. You can always use spell check to correct. So you don't make her write, please. Please don't make her write.
Okay, and the second question related to her college, I know it is very far from now. My elder one is studying in Stella Maris, and they do have in first year language too. Is it a compulsory for our children also who comes out from?
No, they're giving. I said that no second language you can drop.
I missed that because there's a power out.
If you're dyslexic and you're struggling with language.
She's not dyslexic. She doesn't come under dyslexic category.
No, you can get concessions for it.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And
Thank you so much.
What is it you?
Yeah, I'll just read out Rashmi's question, Mridula. If a person has not taken concessions for class 10, can they get it in class 12?
No, that will be difficult, because you might have to get affidavits for it. You need to get I think, ask them to, like I said, this one, where is this person located? They can go to that area's dyslexia association, wherever they are in, and ask them what they should do now. Because there are provisions. Sometimes you may not get a provision in class 10, but or you didn't get for various reasons, and then you might require it for class 12. Though it will be difficult to get, and I think you should ask if you're living in Andhra, you can ask the Andhra dyslexia. Whichever region you're in, please ask your dyslexia association to tell you better.
लेकिन बोल रही है MD को जाओ करके.
Ma'am, I just have
Thank you, ma'am.
query.
Mridula ma'am, this is Arun here.
Basically, my question is, my son is 9-year-old, and
Yes.
he is currently with a Montessori board.
Yeah.
So, in case if you are planning for taking a concession, what would be the right
Which class
age?
is he in, please? Which class
He is
is
into
he in?
third grade, elementary.
Sorry,
Elementary
I
for
lost you. Third grade.
he
Why
is
are you
into.
worried?
Okay. The thing is, at what age I should look for an NIOS syllabus,
My
or at
audio
what
is
age I
very
should?
bad. I'm not able to hear you.
Is it fine now, ma'am?
Can you just write it in the chat box, please?
Yeah,
Is he in
I'll
third
write it.
grade?
I'll write it, ma'am. Is it?
Arun,
Yes, he is in third grade.
I got your answer. I can answer to your question because similar thing my daughter has gone through. Until 8th standard, school has a liberty to give an exemption and with the scribe. They don't need to have any special kind of approval from CBSE if they are in CBSE board. And NIOS will start only from 9th grade.
Okay, this is that's my question. And when should we start applying for a
But the
concession?
assessment report must be there. Please,
Yeah.
please
Every
don't
year
forget the
school will
assessment
demand.
report
Yes,
must
ma'am.
be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I
School
do.
will demand.
Yes.
Assessment report, don't forget.
Yes, I do have an assessment report from MDA taken 2 years back. Definitely, I think I should come back again to start looking for a concession.
Right.
I'll do it right away. Yep. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Ma'am, I just have one query. My son is in
Can you be
SKLC.
slightly louder? Can you be
My
louder?
son is in SKLC. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I just have a very basic queries. He's doing his studies in SKLC. So when it comes to assessment, every
How
year
old is he? You have to tell me how old he is.
he's 13. He's in Prep 3.
Okay.
And so every year there will be the report card which is issued by the our school, right? So when we get the assessment report, so these the report cards will be helping us, right?
Yeah. You should keep them. Please keep all of them.
Yes. Yes, and along with that, the remedial classes which he went through, so all the reports have to be kept.
Please keep every single report. Just keep it, because boards are very, very strict now. Until the Disabilities Act came into place, you could do many adjustments. Yeah, I know somebody else, and it will get done. But after the Act has come into play, the board, because you have to go through the medical board, and medical board, they are very good people. Extremely good people, but very, very strict in terms of documentation. If your documentation is not in place, you will roll on the floor and hold their feet. They will not give you.
Okay.
They will not give you, because they are bound by rules of the government. They are answerable to the government, not to you and me. It is our job to keep those documents in place. You can't say this has happened, huh? Can't say by mistake I put the assessment report onto the old newspapers and gave it off to the Rajjiwala. No, you can't get the duplicate report. It is headache. It is hell to get. Please don't do all that. Keep all those reports. It is imperative.
And second thing, ma'am, like now because he's doing his maths, but still he has the inhibition for the numbers. So we have decided maybe next year when he goes to 10th, I will allow him to take for other papers where he doesn't have any difficulty. But still now, can he?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
My son is doing Prep 3 and one paper is maths. So he has problem with the maths.
Yeah, but why are you worried? If he's going to have problem, teach him life skill math. Ask him to use the calculator. Why are you worried that he's not doing math? He needs to buy stuff from the market.
But can he be practiced to use calculators?
He should. By 13, he's having trouble with math. It means, I don't know what don't tell me in the public forum what his assessment report says. But if he has dyscalculia, make him do life skill math. He should know what to do, go to shop, buy regular stuff, use calculator. Calculator, physical, or what is on the phone also he can use. See, what you need in life, they should be able to manage in life.
Okay,
so I guess school math, please don't do. If you ask me, just don't do school math. Use those sums to work the use on the calculator and get the concept. These children work very well if you show it to them. So if you want to teach them subtraction, say I have, 5 chocolates and I've removed 3 out of that. That sort of using hands, using actual stuff to teach them. So when you go shopping for vegetables, you take, go to the grocery, you take them. That's the best way to teach.
Yes.
Look at the bill, show them the bill. At the end of the bill, if you give 500 rupees, see 250 change is coming. No, now check if 250 is there. Start like that.
Yes. Yes.
Otherwise, how will they survive?
Yes. Yes. Sure.
School maths and all, don't worry. Just leave it. Forget it.
Hello, ma'am. Mridula, ma'am, I'm Vinita here.
Yeah, Vinita.
Actually from
Tell me,
Bangalore.
Vinita, sorry, you're in Bangalore. Okay.
No, not me. I know a child who is from Bangalore. She is 14 years old, and I asked her mother to get all the assessments done, and she has done the assessments in NIMANS, and she got all the reports. Report says that she is dyscalculic. And recently her father changed her school. Now in the new school, the problem is like they are not availing any change of subjects. It's a CBSE board, and they say that in that school they are not having a facility of change of subject, because I asked them to check for the change of, because she is totally not, it is unable for her to cope up with math. So
no, she can't do math. Dyscalculic cannot, they can't, she shouldn't
it
be
is highly
CBSE
difficult
math at all. No, they can't.
So when she checked with the school people, they said that they don't have an option of exemption of a subject.
No,
there's
no way they can say that, because they are bound by the law.
But they say that now what has happened is they are saying that they have an option where they have this basic maths. Again, that basic math is the same age, the same grade level math, where they say it is not complicated, but it is highly difficult.
No, they can't do that also. They have
How
to
we
find
can
an
proceed with this, ma'am? How can we proceed with this case?
It's advice. You're asking me. If it was me, I'll take the child and put the child in NIO.
Ma'am, I can tell you my own experience. My daughter was in Bhavan's Rajaji Vidyashram, and I had a similar problem where they didn't give an alternate subject for Sanjana. But the principal is very kind enough to give her a home science as an additional subject. But then I decided why to tax my child, and I pulled her out from the CBSE and I put her in NIOS. And believe me, she's enjoying this syllabus. And without any stress, and she's so excited about her subjects. And I think it is better not to put the child through the stress where there is no option in subject selection.
You can 9 years, if the school doesn't have options and they are not cooperating, if the management's attitude is not kind towards or accommodating towards this, don't waste your time fighting the school. Just pull the child out, because it's traumatic for the child. See, you will fight the school, but the child has to go to the school, right?
Child is daily calling me and she's crying. She is literally crying.
Tell the parents to pull them.
I think this will be a mental trauma for the child. I think ma'am suggested the best thing.
Put the child in NIOS or any other school which is kinder. And see, don't run to NIOS thinking it is very easy and anybody will
Ma'am,
pass.
actually, she is very good in
difficult.
other subjects. Actually, she is very good in other subjects. Only the
You
maths.
do the same thing with NIOS. Do the same subjects in NIOS. Drop maths.
So at 9th grade, she can just shift to NIOS.
Yeah, you can shift, because you have to complete 15 for NIOS. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you,
But
ma'am.
keep the TC. Don't forget the TC.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
One question, ma'am.
Yes.
Mridula, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Rajesh. My daughter is 10 years old.
Okay.
She is suffering from global development delay, GDD child.
Okay.
And from 2.5 years to 7.5 years, I have given occupation therapy to her.
Okay.
Now she's 10 years old. Whether occupation therapy will be helpful now also?
Yeah, it will. It will, because I gave for my daughter until she was like 13, 14 years.
Some doctors suggested that after 9 years, OT will not have any effect on the child.
See, I am not a medical practitioner, and my daughter has only specific learning difficulty. So why don't you check with your pediatrician, because they will be better able to tell you, because I am not qualified, right? I am only a parent who has dealt with a child who has specific learning difficulty, but yours is not like that. So it would be better if you ask, because personally I have continued for my daughter until she was about 13-14 years, but I don't know in your case if that is relevant. Or if you should do at all, but you should ask the medical doctor first, not me. I won't be able to help.
Mridula ma'am, I have one question continuing this same question. Like my daughter missed that golden period for occupational therapy because I was
golden period,
like 8 years of her time, because I had something personal where I had to be there, and she missed that occupational therapy from say about from the age 9 to 13 years old. Can she continue the occupational therapy for motor skill?
Put her in a sport. See, again, consult with your pediatrician. Please consult pediatrician. I am not a pediatrician. Consult with your pediatrician and then see what can be done. So,
ma'am.
She can go for tennis or so.
Ma'am, one more question.
Yes. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, actually, my mother tongue is Tamil, actually.
Okay.
So, my daughter is good in conversation in Tamil.
Okay.
Okay. But she is studying in Saraswati Kendra, actually, special school. Okay.
Okay.
There, the medium of education is English, actually. So, so whatever the, what do you say, English subject or EVS, everything comes in English only. So, is there any way that the special education material or any methodology to study in Tamil language?
Yes, there is. In Madras Dyslexia Association has something called Tamil Vazhi Payarchi.
Oh.
Okay. So
Okay,
please contact them. Tamil Vazhi Payarchi.
Okay.
Madras Dyslexia Association. Go to their website. They have their telephone number. Call them up. This is how to teach your child, remediate them through Tamil.
Okay, but actually, ma'am, she can speak very well in Tamil, but reading and writing.
No. Dyslexia means that only they can't read. They will speak very well. That is the issue. So the best thing you would do is call up Madras Dyslexia Association. Check out their Tamil Vazhi Payarchi. Did you get that name? Tamil Vazhi Payarchi.
I know. I understand, ma'am.
So that one will be very good for your daughter. Please contact them. They will help you. Because my mother tongue is not Tamil and I can't read Tamil, so I can't help you with this.
Okay. What I want to know is, so far she is reading and writing only in English only, actually. Okay, ma'am. So now at the age of 10, if I go for Tamil medium of this education, what do you say? Whether it will be helpful to her?
See, research is saying that until 10 years, we should be teaching our children in mother tongue only.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you teach them in mother tongue, then the brain will, all that areas where for conversation, all the areas for language will become strong. And after that, whichever language, they'll pick it up.
Okay.
So at this point in time, since you're already doing English education, it is okay. Please let her continue with that. You can switch between both. You can do Tamil Vazhi Payarchi along with this English that she's doing. She will pick it up.
Okay.
Only thing you have to understand is figure out how she is learning. அவளுக்கு எப்படி புரியுதுன்னு பார்க்கணும் நீங்க. எந்த விதத்துல சொல்லி கொடுத்தா அவளுக்கு எப்படி புரியுது, ஒவ்வொருத்தரும் ஒவ்வொரு மாதிரி கத்துப்பாங்க. அவளுக்கு எப்படி சொன்னா அது புரியும்னு நீங்க கண்டுபிடிச்சீங்கன்னா அதுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி அந்த வழியில அவளுக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்தா அவ சீக்கிரமா கேட்ச் பண்ணிப்பாங்க. அவ்வளவுதான், நீங்க கவலை பண்றதுக்கு ஒண்ணுமே இல்லை.
Okay, actually இந்த ஸ்பெஷல் எஜுகேஷன் வந்து இந்த ரீஹாபிலிட்டேஷன் கவுன்சில் ஆஃப் இந்தியா ரெகக்னைஸ்டு பேரண்ட்ஸுக்கும் கோர்ஸ் எடுக்கிறாங்க இல்லைங்களா? அது வந்து தமிழ் மீடியம் த்ரூ சொல்லித்தர மாதிரியும் எஜுகேஷன் மெட்டீரியல் அவைலபிளா இருக்கா?
அது எனக்கு தெரியலங்க. நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுங்க, பெஸ்ட் இந்த MDA இது ஒன்னு ஃப்ரீயா ஒன்னு இருக்குதுங்க, இ-சிக்ஷானம்னு MDA வெப்சைட்க்கு போயிட்டு இ-சிக்ஷானம்னு ஒன்னு பாருங்க. அது ஃப்ரீலி அவைலபிள். நீங்க அது முதல்ல உங்களுக்கு அது புரியுதான்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி நீங்க தமிழ்லயும் கத்துக்கலாம். பெஸ்ட் கால் தீஸ் பீப்புள் அப். they are the best people to guide you. because எனக்கு தமிழ்ல அவைலபிளான்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது. பட் மெட்டீரியல் இஸ் அவைலபிள். தமிழ் மெட்டீரியல் வந்து கிடைக்குது உங்களுக்கு. சோ நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுங்க, இந்த இ-சிக்ஷானத்தை போய் பாருங்க, கேளுங்க. இது வந்து ஃப்ரீலி அவைலபிள். சாம்பிள் உங்களுக்கு இருக்கும். நீங்க அதை பார்த்துட்டு NDA ஃபோன் பண்ணி கேட்டீங்கன்னா அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க, உங்களுக்கு கைட் பண்ணுவாங்க.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
I think we can have one question only, Mridula.
Yeah, ma'am, can you hear me? Mridula and Harini Mohan from NDA.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, excellent presentation, Mridula, super clear. This is just to go back on the question that was asked on GDD, the Global Developmental Delay. There is not much of material and help that is available straight away for a child with GDD. But I know someone who was with NDA for a very long time, who was a faculty of Ananya also. I think you also know her, you must have met her, whose daughter also has the same issue. So she maybe will able to help this particular person who needs some more information on GDD. So if he can leave the number with the association, I can speak to Priya and connect them up so that this child also benefits and he can get some help.
Where I have to give the number, ma'am?
To Mr. Vineet or to the association. First, I need to check if the person is okay. I don't think she will mind. But அப்படியே அவங்க கிட்ட கேட்காம நான் நம்பரை பாஸ் ஆன் பண்ண முடியாது. நான் கண்டிப்பா கேட்டுட்டு நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்றேன். ஏன்னா GDDக்கு ஜென்ரலாவே கொஞ்சம் மெட்டீரியலும் ஹெல்ப்பும் அவைலபிளா ஸ்ட்ரைட்டாவே கிடைக்கிறது கஷ்டம். இவங்களுக்கு பர்சனல் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருக்கிறதுனால உங்களுக்கு இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஹெல்ப் பெட்டரா கிடைக்கும்னு எனக்கு தோணுது.
உங்களை கான்டாக்ட் பண்ணுமா மேம் நானே?
இல்ல இந்த அசோசியேஷன் நீங்க ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா, அங்க GDDன்னு போட்டுட்டு உங்களோட கான்டாக்ட் நம்பர் நீங்க அவங்க கிட்ட கொடுத்துட்டீங்கன்னா நான் அந்த யாரு ஹெல்ப் பண்ண முடியும்னு எனக்கு தோணுதோ அவங்கள்ட்ட கேட்டுட்டு ஓகேன்னா உங்க 2 பேரையும் நான் கனெக்ட் பண்ணி விட முடியும்.
எதுல மேம்? இந்த குரூப்லயா மேம்? இந்த குரூப்லயா?
ஆமா, இந்த குரூப்ல போட்டுருங்க, இந்த குரூப்ல போட்டுருங்க.
சரிங்க மேம், சரி மேம், தேங்க்யூ மேம்.
இங்க ஒரு மெயில் ஐடி இருக்கு இல்லீங்களா, அந்த மெயில் ஐடிக்கு GDD இப்ப போட்டிருக்காங்கல்ல.
Email ID has been put in the chat box. Anybody has any queries, they can put it.
Please put it into that, we'll answer.
Okay ma'am, thank you.
Sir, ஆனா தயவு செஞ்சு GDD போட்டுட்டு போடுங்க, இல்லன்னா யாருக்கு என்ன ஏதுன்னு தெரியாது. இந்த குளோபல் டெவலப்மென்ட் டே பத்தி போட்டீங்க, அதை மென்ஷன் பண்ணிட்டு மெயில் போடுங்க. நாங்க என்ன பண்ண முடியுமோ.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Can we take one more question, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Please make it really very short.
Yeah, sure.
Because, thank you so much.
Ma'am, my daughter had availed concession when she was in class 9. Now she's in class 10. And till the board exam, the letter says till the board exam, this holds good. What I would like to ask is there anything else that I need to be prepared before the 10th board exam, or this letter alone is sufficient, which is presented to the school already last year?
No, the school will see what you should. This is CBSE?
CBSE board.
See, CBSE, what they'll do is, you have given all your concessions and all to them, they will send it to the board. Whatever it is, you have to submit it to them. That you've done?
Last year itself we have done. The letter says it. I don't have to do anything this year, prepare anything this year?
No, because
nothing
they
at all.
submitted the year before. Yes.
That is sufficient. Okay, ma'am. And one more question. She is in CBSE and she has problem with her math. Is she allowed to use calculator in
What does your
CBSE board
assessment
exam?
report say? What does
Dyscalculia and dyslexia.
Did they mention it in the report that use of calculator is allowed?
Yes, she had written concession that can be availed. She has written, but the school is not actually done anything towards that.
School may not do. She should practice. So does the assessment report say that allowing calculator is allowed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Then ask her to practice it with the calculator for the exam.
Okay. And there's one more thing. We had actually applied for exemption in math last year itself. She already has a Hindi language exemption and she's availed arts instead of that. It's going on for the past 2 years. And math, we had availed concession last year and got a certificate, everything, and we had presented. Still, the board has not given any reply to the school. This is what the school keeps telling us. And so even in this academic year during COVID, we have not received any reply, however times we have knocked the door. And she's still going difficult with the math basic. We have opted, but still it is very, very difficult for her. And now almost halfway through, we don't have any respite right now.
Right. No, the board has not responded, is it?
Yeah, that's what the school tells us.
But board will, why don't you ask the board only?
we had actually, done that also. We're not able to get a concrete reply. Last year itself, we had
now
applied.
this COVID thing is on, right?
Yeah.
So maybe wait.
Is there anything that can be done now, ma'am? Like there's no point in going through the school again and again and asking. They say we have not received any reply. What do we do?
You have to ask the board now.
Mridula, but Mridula, does board offer the maths concession?
Of course, they do, no?
Maths concession, maths exemption.
Maths calculator they allow. They can't.
Yeah, I think what she's asking is maths exemption. I don't think boards allow maths exemption. She might have to shift to NIOS.
Sir, we had done this.
Sorry.
Sir, this assessment was done through MDA certified person, and she had said that this girl can avail exemption of math and take another subject through the school. So we had opted for another subject, and the school had forwarded the letter to CBSE, but no reply has come from CBSE from last year. It's a 9th standard beginning itself. We had applied for math also.
Excuse me, can I just put in a word, please? I'm Harini from Madras Dyslexia Association. You can avail extension from math. There, as per CBSE rules, there are 2 subjects for which you can take alternate subjects. And when you do it, sorry, I missed the in-between part of it. So, so this should be done in 9th standard when you register for the subject. What happens is you do an assessment with NDA, that is enough. You don't have to go to the peripheral hospital or the government agency to register for the subjects. Based on the report that is given by NDA, the school or the parent applies to the CBSE board, and the CBSE will grant that concession or extension. And in your case, as the assessment report says, you can choose alternate subjects for 2 of the subjects, which is allowed by the CBSE board. By now, you should have got a reply, ma'am.
We had done the assessment in 9th standard, yes, ma'am, and through MDA only we went, and it was presented in 9th standard. PSBB.
Normally in PSBB, we've also, I think Ashmi also knows, we've had a couple of other cases earlier where we send a report in 9th and the board has granted concession. As Mridula very rightly said, it could be because of the delay and due to COVID. What I would personally suggest is the school may also not be in a position to do anything. I suggest you go to the CBSE board straight away, which is in Anna Nagar, and get a clarification. They are very approachable. They're very, very approachable. Rather than sending it by mail, you don't even know who sees the mail these days. Like it could just be a person. Might as well go. It is in Anna Nagar. We are very approachable, and I'm sure you will get a solution.
Okay, ma'am. Nearly 1.5 years since we applied for it, and this is the
reply. No, you'll get. Sudha, don't worry, you'll get.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Very informative program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your questions, all the attendees. You've been very participating in the session, and a very, very big thanks to Mridula ma'am. She has done a beautiful presentation. Thank you so much for giving your time to give this presentation to us. Now we have come to the end of the session. I now call upon Secretary Rotarian Ananthi to give the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. It's indeed a pleasure to render the vote of thanks to an august gathering. Thank you, dear Mridula Govindraju, for the best talk on dyslexia and for the points put forth by you. Thank you, district officials, for your virtual presence. Thank you, district literacy team. This is the second of the 4-week workshop. Kindly log in next week, same time, to hear psychologist, author Aarti C. Rajaratnam speak on dyslexia. Wishing everyone a happy Navratri. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request everyone to raise for national anthem.
Rajendran, the AV, please. Rajendra, if there's a problem playing the AV, we can close the meeting. I'm sorry, I think there's a problem with playing the AV. Thank you so much, Mridula. It was a very interesting session. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all. See you in the next session of coming Saturday. Stay tuned. Bye.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am, for joining. Thank you.